Well, I mean, the happy talk comes, and again, it's just behavioral. So recency bias, Wall Street, everybody, you know what that is, obviously. So getting back to the behavioral, look, of the three big things I care about. I mean, Wall Street, and for that matter, COVID, companies that were COVID recipients, they feel fantastic. They feel beyond green shoots. But what does that really mean? Like you and I were having an offline discussion about, like I just got back from the Bahamas where there are a lot of rich people, right? And one guy, he owns, older guy, he just sold his chain of Southern restaurants, and it'd be inappropriate to say which one it is. And he's like telling me about how bad it is for all those people he used to lead and employ because it ain't coming back. He said, ain't come back, ain't come back. But let me tell you how much fucking money I'm making day trading this market.
Right.
He said at one point, he said, I'm making more. It used to take legions of cost structure to make that kind of money. I worked my whole life. The guy's like in his 70s. And this is like a joke. Like, but he's one guy with a massive house in the Bahamas and a nice big boat too. That's not the real world.
Yeah, well, the stock market and the real economy have never been more detached. Now, obviously, the stock market not only recovered its losses from the February to March 2020 collapse, but it's beyond that. We're at new all-time highs. Okay, but that's not the real economy. Just to be more specific, we have the S&P 500, so-called. Well, it's really the S&P 7. We know who they are. It's Facebook, Google, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, and Netflix. Those 7 stocks are 40% of the S&P 500. It's a cap-weighted index, and the market caps of those companies are so big. They are 40% of the index. So they go up. They're the least affected by the pandemic because they're technological. They're not bricks and mortar, et cetera. They're streaming, they're online shopping, and so forth. So they're going up. So what happens? People are passive investors to buying index funds. So more money comes in, they go up some more. More money comes in, they go up some more. And look, I'm not saying short the S&P 500. That's like standing in front of a 18-wheeler going 70 miles an hour. You're going to get crushed. But it does have bubble dynamics and has nothing to do with the real economy. Let's flip over to the economy. What is that? Small and medium-sized enterprises, so all these Wall Street majors, they look down their nose at, your local restaurant, bar, nail salon, dry cleaner, boutique shop, et cetera. Sorry, that's 50. Small and medium-sized business are 50% of all jobs and 45% of GDP. You are crushing it with these lockdowns. You are killing that sector of the economy. You can't kill half the economy and not expect a recession, which is what we're doing right now. By the way, the pandemic data, which we have, I use the Johns Hopkins dashboard, which, like everyone else, and it's very reliable. The caseload compared, so go back to last March and April, that was everyone remembers how horrible it was. The caseload is 10 times greater. Not twice as bad, 3 times as bad, it's 10 times greater. The fatalities are more than double. So this is far worse than what we experienced last March and April. Governors and mayors are doing what they always do, which is locking it down. Doesn't work. We already talked about that, but fine. You lock it down. Who's getting locked down? Not Amazon, not Apple, not Costco. It's the bars and restaurants and nail salons and boutique shops, all the places I mentioned. But it's half the economy. And then once these businesses, they don't have $5 million of working capital. They make money, they pay their bills, there's a little profit for the owner. And actually we have data on this in terms of working capital for small and medium-sized enterprises, depending on whether the particular enterprise, it's somewhere between 30 and 90 days of working capital. That's what they have. Well, that was gone last summer. And so now it's not a question, you'll come back, we'll change the rules. No, they're gone, they're bankrupt. The storefronts are vacant, they're up for lease. The equipment's on sale at fire sale prices, and the employees are home, and they're not even unemployed technically because they're not looking for jobs, because why would you if you're a bartender and all the bars are closed? So that's where you have to look at labor force participation rather than the unemployment rate. I'm not saying the government lies or makes it up. I'm sure their statistical methods are fine, but you have to understand what they are. Labor force participation is back where it was in the 70s. It was as close to 60%. It never gets to 100. That's nonsense because there's always good reasons for some people not to be in the labor force. You're a homemaker or a student or, retired early, whatever it might be. But 70 is high, 60 is low, and we're right around 60, right? 60%. So there are at least 10 million able-bodied people between the ages of 25 and 54 who don't have jobs, but are not counted as unemployed. You put them in the unemployment numbers, you have depression levels of unemployment. So that's where we are. So stock market, knock yourself out, as we used to say in high school. It was a popular song. Knock yourself out, but it's not the real economy, and people have to understand that.